Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about an episode that I put together because I think it's the episode that I needed to hear throughout the different decades of my life. And it's about the people that we should avoid. The people we should avoid in life. And, these are conversations I have with clients. And it definitely is something that I think I needed. I needed it when I was in my early adolescent years, my late adolescent years, the college years, my 20s, my 30s. These are people that I did not avoid. And there were people that were hard for me. And so I want you all to think about this as I go through the list of the certain personality types of people that I think it would be best that you avoid. So you're always going to look for the patterns. Remember that. Okay.
I was going to ask you if we're talking about traits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or ways of behavior that happen over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the people who can be the energy vampires for you in your life. Just, oh God, they're draining. They just kind of suck the lifeblood out of you. And that's one aspect of the types of people I think that we ought to avoid. But I want you to think about this for yourself, because as I go through this, you may think, yeah, but that person, yeah, I know people like that. That doesn't really bother me. Okay. So you know that about yourself. Think about you, your personality. What are your strengths? What are your gifts? And think about the people in your life as I go through and think, yeah, that's hard for me. That personality type is hard for me. That behavior is really hard for me. This one, yeah, not so much. Okay. So if you ever feel emotionally exhausted after being around certain people, if you dread seeing their name pop up on your phone, or if you keep thinking to yourself, why do I feel worse about myself, or just blah, just so like energy sucked out of me every time I've finished talking with them, then this episode is for you. Okay. And if you have a friend or a family member or a colleague who talks about this, send this episode to them, because they're going to find this to be of much benefit. All right. Because not everybody that's in your life is just air quote going through something. Right. So we have patience, we throw grace and we throw compassion to people who they're not normally like this, but they're going through a hard time. I'm not talking about those people. Okay. And that's you actually being a good friend if someone's going through something, but these are people who tend to have patterns. These are and patterns, they have consequences, right? They're not doing their work. They probably do need to be in therapy, and they're not doing it. And maybe it's happening to you. You become the person, for example, one of the traits, you become the person who's their therapist. All right. All right. So today I'm like flubbing with my words because it's early in the morning. Today, we're talking about the kinds of people that you should avoid, or at least keep at arm's length. All right. Because if you don't, what you might see happen is they can quietly erode your mental health. Right?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think, is it possible, and I'm sure we're going to get into this. So there's traits, and then there's people, right? There's traits that they don't line up with you, right? That bug you or just get you off of your game,
Right.
let's say. But if that person, if you're really all about that person for whatever that means, fill in the blank, is it possible you could overlook some of those traits sometimes?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there's so many good things about them. And every single one of us has flaws, right?
Yeah.
We all have character flaws. Every single one of us. We all have blind spots. There's things about us. That's the bulk of the work I do in coaching. We all have blind spots that we don't see that other people see. It's like, I talked about it, and I talk about it, I feel like in a lot of episodes now, that lack of self-awareness. That's a blind spot that, and when you ask people who are going to be really honest with you, people you feel psychologically safe with, they may tell you, you tend to do this a lot. You tend to say that a lot. You tend to want to one up people. You want to feel, I feel like sometimes you want to be the one who knows more about the subject matter than everybody else in the room. Sometimes you do seem like you want to be the smartest person.
Yeah.
You want to be right, or you never listen. You don't listen. You talk a lot, or you don't talk enough, and you don't contribute to the conversation. Everybody's talking around, and we want to hear from you, and you don't say anything. It's like you have no opinion, but I do know you have an opinion. There's We all have that, right?
Yeah. And we've talked about this too. Like, if that's a pattern for this person, there's probably times where you can steer clear of it, right? You can steer clear of the situation that has this person doing that, this or that, whatever that might be,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's interesting.
Okay, so for all of you who don't know, many of you who are longtime listeners, thank you again, as always, for listening and sharing this podcast with people. This is my labor of love. So this is not something I don't make money doing this. This is something I just do because I love it, and I want you all to know the things that I know that I've learned over all the years. So I'm a therapist and a high performing coach. I've been in practice for 26 years. I've been, licensed and in the field for 30 years. So I have spent all these decades watching the same relationship dynamics in my office. And I watch these relationship dynamics destroy people's confidence, their stability, and their peace. And I'm going to say this clearly. This is not about being mean or cruel. This is about you being wise, okay? You can be compassionate with people and still have boundaries. And you can love someone and not let them have full access to you. Really, really important. Two things can be true at the same time,
Yeah.
okay?
Perspective.
So let's start with the obvious truth that I think a lot of us are ignoring. Your nervous system, it's affected by your relationships. Your nervous system is affected by the people you choose to hang around, okay? So some people, they regulate you, right? And you know who they are. When you're around them, you feel calmer, you just feel happy, you feel clearer, you feel understood, you feel like yourself. That's the biggest thing here. You just feel like you, right? And there are some people in your life who really dysregulate you. Meaning like your body feels tense when you're around them. You feel anxious, maybe you feel guilty, maybe there's shame that comes up for you. You feel hypervigilant, or the experience I've had is you just feel drained by them. You feel exhausted, right? Like I need to go home and take a nap or go to bed or just have quiet. No one talk to me, right?
Yeah.
And if you grew up in a home where you had to manage other people's moods and feelings, this is really important here. If you grew up in a house like this, a home like this, where you felt like you had to manage people, this is key for many, many of us. Your brain may confuse dysregulation with love. That's really important. And that's what my emotional mastery course is about.
Okay.
Okay, because it becomes almost like egosyntonic, where we associate dysregulation. We don't know regulation from dysregulation. We're just so used to dysregulation that it becomes almost like our regulation. And we don't know what it's like to get out of dysregulation and to feel calm and peace, and what it's like to really feel self-love, love of ourselves and love from others. True, honest, pure love with no strings attached.
Yeah. You're also talking about fear,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
like, what's the phrase? Like burn me once, shame
I
on.
was thinking about that this morning as I was
Right?
having a sleepless night again, of course. Lovely menopausal years. I was thinking about that this morning, about this episode. Well, at 3 a.m. What's it like? It's like screw me once, shame on me. Screw me again.
No.
Opposite. I'm sorry. Shame on you. Screw me again. Shame on
Yeah.
me. I
Yeah.
was just thinking that, like, do me wrong once, shame on you. Do me wrong twice, shame on me.
Right.
For not learning the lesson,
Right.
and doing different.
Right. And also being fearful that you're gonna forget that, right? And allow it to happen again. Allow yourself to be put in a position where it could happen again. Right.
And we do that.
Yeah.
We do it over and over and over again. And I will be the first to raise my hand here and say I'm so guilty of that throughout my life, since the time I was probably a little kid, right? Okay, so relationships, they can be chronic stressors in our lives. That's important for you to know. Chronic stress makes you more reactive, more anxious, and less resilient. And you don't have to call it trauma, which is important. This doesn't have to be trauma for this to be unhealthy for you, okay? Because I don't think everything is trauma in our lives. And many, many things in our lives are unhealthy, okay? So your mental health, it's not just what happens inside of you. It's also what happens around you. Okay. So let's get into it. Okay. So I'm going to walk through the 10 types of people that I think we might want to think about avoiding. Okay. And just, or taking a step back from. Okay. So as I go through this list of personality types, Here's what I want you to notice about yourself, okay? And I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Do I have someone like this in my life? Do I keep making excuses for them? Do I feel worse after being in contact with them? Okay. So and also note that not all of these people are evil. Like I just said, that's really, really important. We're not talking about evil people. We're not talking about like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean when I say evil? Evil is like another level. Psychopaths. I'm not talking about that. Some people are just unhealed and lack self-awareness more than maybe us normies, right? But you don't have to volunteer to be their emotional dumping ground.
Yeah.
And that's a big lesson I've had to learn over the years.
Yeah. So your list, I haven't seen your list. Your list is a list of traits that appear in people in your circle, right? So
that you interface with, maybe
Right.
not even in your circle, just you interface with in life
Okay.
that you're around.
Yeah. It's I think it's safe to say then that this list is not complete, right? Like, because like your list and mine will probably be different,
Mhm.
right? I might have out of the 11, I might only line up with 8, right?
Well, yeah, because it's funny because when I was doing my search, I put it into Google and Gemini, and I asked, Gemini, their AI, I said, give me the lists, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't say the character traits that were really the personality types are really important that
Sure.
I've experienced in my life. And I said, probably am helping that large language model because I'm sure I am because I said no. I said, you forgot this one, you
Keep
forgot this one, you
going.
forgot this one. Like, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm like, of course it is, right? Like, that's brilliant. Thank you for that. I'm like, okay, well, now they're incorporating it into their model and they're going to give it to the next person.
Yeah. But so my point though is that like this is not an exhaustive list. Like your
No,
list
no.
and my
You
list
may
will be
right.
different. And there's also going to be a 12 or a 13 or a 14 for some people. Right?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the number one is the person who's the chronic victim. You know, the person, we know people who are always the victim. So what does the chronic victim look like? This is the person who really nothing is ever their fault. Every story with them ends with somehow them being wronged. They were wronged.
Mm.
And you know who these people are. I mean, I'm not around a lot of these people, but these traits are exhausting. You become their free therapist. You are the person they go to for a free counseling session, and they rarely take action. They talk, and we know someone who was going through a divorce years ago, and man, did that person take
Sure.
full advantage of both of us. And I remember after I would talk to them, you would say to me, did you charge her? You should charge her for that because you just spent an hour giving free counseling. And then the same person would do it to you. And you would say, I feel like I need to charge for that.
Yeah. I don't even bill for this stuff.
But we would say, this is what we think. Okay. After a while, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Talking, sitting in parking garages, talking to this person because they were really in a terrible crisis.
Yeah.
But they never took action. And that's when you and I started to really back away from them because they wouldn't take action on anything in their lives because they were immobilized.
Yeah.
And we kept saying, you need to go see a therapist. So what does this do to you? What does it do to you, everybody? It drains your energy, in a way, I think sometimes it can make you feel responsible when you're not, but you could kind of feel like maybe you're responsible. They're the victim and you're responsible in some way to help manage them and control them and take care of them. And it creates guilt inside of us when we say no to them.
Mm.
And that's true. Like if you don't take their call or you put out a boundary, I have to go, and they're in the middle of something and you kind of feel a little guilty because you feel like you're being air quote mean, right? So, support is one thing. Here's a takeaway for all of you with the chronic victim. Support is one thing. Chronic helplessness in them, that's a whole different animal. And that's really what I think we see in the chronic victim is this chronic helplessness.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, please take a step forward
or
sideways.
I can't. I'm a victim. I can't.
Right?
And I know, okay, well, then you need to go see somebody and talk about that. It can't be me anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I got a lot here, so we're going to keep going.
Okay.
Number 2 is the drama dealer. So what does this person look like, the drama person?
Drama dealer.
Chaos follows them wherever they go. I know you know people like this. I've heard of you talking about people who work like this in past positions in your life. Every week is a crisis. Every week there's something going on. Oh my God. They thrive on intensity. They love conflict and they love the gossip. They just thrive on that drama. So what does it do to you when you're around that, a lot or quite a bit? It keeps your nervous system on edge. It could keep you feeling like you're a live wire, like you're fried. It can pull you into emotional turbulence. It can kind of wreck your peace if you don't be careful being around these people.
Yeah.
And it eats your attention span. They take up your attention. It
Yeah.
can take away your attention at work and things you need to be really taken care of. It can take away your personal time. If there's a phone call from a friend, a neighbor, a family member, an extended family member, an acquaintance, it can really take up like, okay, I'm at home now and I need to be paying attention to my kids or my partner. I want to pay attention to my show that I've been looking forward to watch tonight.
Yeah.
And it's always drama with them. So drama for this person is stimulation for them. I mean, they sort of get off on this. It's stimulating for them. It's serving a need for them, which is not your problem and not for you to figure out or psychoanalyze. You pick up that, drama is their stimulation. And stimulation can feel like connection for them if they've never had a sense of calm in their life. So for them, it's their connection to you. It feels like connection, but they've got it wrong. That's someone who really does need to be in therapy.
Yeah.
To move out of the drama.
I think for me, like with that type of person, I don't know, are we getting into like what to do with it? Like, or
at the end,
we'll
do some power moves.
But what to do with this person is to stay back.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Yeah.
Minimize interaction or time.
I think that's what a lot of us do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is the boundary pusher. And I talk about boundaries all the time in the podcast. So you're not going to be surprised that I'm going to talk about this. It's the person who pushes boundaries. You may say no, and they're going to negotiate with you around your no. They don't like to take no for an answer.
Yeah.
They might guilt you, or they'll pout, or they'll sort of punish you, be passive aggressive, really kind of punishing you for your saying no, or they may just persist. Like they don't like the no. They're going to persist, keep bringing it up. And what it is they're treating your boundaries like it's a personal insult against them. Like, what? What do you mean? You're saying no, what? No, you're not saying no. No, don't accept that.
Yeah.
Right. So what does it do to you? The person, I mean, these are hard. This is a hard personality. The person who's going to push back when you have boundaries. It trains you to self-abandon because what oftentimes, and I know I've done this, I'm like, oh, forget it. It's not worth it. It's just this one time. I just, it's easier to give in to them and make them happy and let them have their way or do it their way than to just have to deal with them. So what I have done is it has trained me to self-abandon. I let go of what it is I really wanted or needed for myself because it was easier to give in to them. Right. And what it also does to us is it can make you anxious before you even speak up. And that has been completely me. And this is people pleasing people. So if you're a people pleaser, this is probably going to resonate for you because I come from a people pleasing background as well. And like I said, it's just easier to give up. And it's easier to just go into what I know, to people please. Kind of want to shut them up. You don't want to hear about it anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And you watch, like, I'm thinking of a few folks right now that fall into this one. Like, you watch this and like the process for them is like to try and convert your no into a maybe. Right. Like maybe you'll like just consider this.
I mean, I think of people in sales. I think of like sales people I've worked with who are very aggressive. Not all salespeople are like this, but what is it? They don't take no for an answer, and you see it, and I get it. It's funny if you're like as car salesman person, like, and I've had some like this, and not a lot like this. I find that I get irritated with those individuals. Like you're just, I don't know you. You're bugging the crap out of me.
Right.
I'm leaving, and you're actually going to lose a sale if you don't stop doing this right now. So I have no problem with somebody that I don't know, a salesperson.
Yeah, but those types of people, I mean.
It's manipulation though, but in your personal life and like even your professional life, it can feel a little bit like they push the boundaries so they can move into like low-key manipulation of you.
Of course.
And then you start to feel resentful.
That's a whole mindset though. I mean, those types of people, whether they've been trained or they haven't, maybe they don't even know they've been trained. Maybe time has trained them, right? But what they're trying to do is just overcome your objection, right?
Well, okay. So when is that appropriate? And because you're a sales guy, in
Well,
sales?
I think I think in sales it's appropriate all the time because your goal is to sell something, right? So you're trying to drill down into to a person to figure out what is it that you're objecting to, or what are you using as your excuse to
You
not
know,
buy?
I just had a light bulb go off for me right now because I think I've worked so hard in setting boundaries with people in all the different aspects of my life. That's why I think I have such a knee-jerk, irritated reaction to salespeople.
Yeah,
I'm like, nope, nope. It's an automatic no, automatic no, automatic no, because I can do it more easily with people I don't know. But I have noticed that I'm more reactive and responsive with them. I mean, you wouldn't know it on the outside, but I just sort of inside myself shut down.
yeah,
Don't want to hear your spiel. Get away. Don't talk to me. Don't like. I don't even want salespeople in retail, lovely people, to talk to me like in the store about how. And I want to hear like, you know, the store's 50% off. Like, oh, I want to do that information, but I've had to really work on myself around that because I'm so reactive because I've been manipulated in my personal life that I can be too much, not too much, but I
too quick maybe.
too quick to say no, no,
Yeah,
no to salespeople.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I've worked on that. I have
yeah.
had to work on that.
And those types of people enjoy that game because for them it
Oh,
is a
okay.
game.
Well, that's good to
It's a
know.
game.
Good to know.
They're trying to figure out what are your actual objections, because if I can help you see that that's really not a true objection, you'll cross that off of your list as my potential buyer. You might move on to the next thing in your mind that you think is an objection, and we'll talk about that one too.
I have such a hard time with this one, a boundary pusher. I mean,
Yeah,
I boundary pusher and sales are kind of two different things, but
yeah.
you know, we just before we're getting on here, like I'm not good at sales. I'm not. You just told me I needed to go to with Dale Carnegie's in the sales training.
Or some version of that.
And, you know, like
Yeah,
my former business coaches have said this to me.
yeah,
I've always said, and maybe I've had ego around this and pride around this, like I don't chase people, I don't chase clients. And I'll, you know, toot my own horn or give myself a pat on the back here. I've always had a thriving full practice, therapy and coaching practice, and I've never had to chase people. People have come to me through word of mouth.
yeah,
And now when I'm trying to do other things like monetize a podcast or get, you know, group coaching going, it's not as easy as it used to be or whatever. You know, there's certain parts of my practice and my business that are not my practice, more my business that are hard for me. And I have to be more of a salesperson. And it's very difficult because I would always say to you, and my business coaches, I don't chase people. I don't chase people.
yeah.
And you tell me I'm thinking about that wrong. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not
That's it's
chasing people.
backwards. Yeah.
It's hard. It's
I
hard
don't
because I don't want to
disagree.
push people's boundaries.
Yeah.
And my former business coach said to me, Anna, she used to say all the time, you are better than Mel Robbins, but people don't know who you are. And you've got to get out there and you have to let them know who you are. You have so much more experience. You have the same sort of personality.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get out there. You got to, she's like, people don't know who you are. That hit me. She's like, well, how come people like use your services or whatever it is, or have you speak on a stage or, you know, the podcast is growing, but she talks more about like building my business in general. And I never forgot that. She goes, they don't know who you are. See, I'm not growing on TikTok. I'm not huge on TikTok. Look at my Instagram. It's like 3,000 people
Yeah.
for 5 years now. I'm not growing.
Yeah.
And I've also had people say to me, yeah, because you talk in nuance. I'm not a, like a, what's it like? I don't bait people. Like 5 things, sometimes I will, 5 things you need to know. And as a therapist and a coach, having sat in for tens of thousands of hours across from people, whether it be in my office or on Zoom, there's nuance to everything.
Yeah.
And my business coach, 2 of them said to me, yeah, but that doesn't sell. That doesn't sell, Anna. I have a hard time.
Right. Well, what's the end
Maybe
result?
I need to push my own boundaries.
What's the end result? Right? What do you want to get? What are you trying to do? You're trying to get a client, right?
Well,
What is your end result with this?
yeah, I'm trying to bring more people in to know me, and I'm trying to work with more people. Yes.
Okay. So that's your end result. The end result is change, helping people change, right? That's the end result. But the first end result is getting a client,
Yeah.
right? And maybe back in the 80s and the 90s, you didn't have to throw any bait in the water.
in the
The
2000s,
fish
the
came to you.
2010s.
Well, yeah, it's evolution though. Like now it's different, right? There's more competition. Social media is a
Yes,
factor. There's
yes,
all
yes,
kinds of
yes.
things that are different in 2026.
Right.
So you now have to go back and say, okay, hold on. I got to embrace this.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting off topic, but the whole social media world is really hard for me. I mean, I'm 57. I'm going to be 57. I'm, I've, been around the block a few times, but this social media since 2020, really for me, this is my first rodeo.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me because I say to you, I say to the kids all the time, I'm not 25. I'm not 30. I don't care so much about how I look on here. I'm a 57-year-old woman, but I've got a crap ton of life experience and professional experience. And I pride myself on my clinical credibility.
Yeah.
But that's not attractive to people on social media. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
That's what's been hard for me. And I don't want to change who I am, my personality and what I know. It's hard for me to be salesy and I don't know.
Yeah.
So and there's nuance for everybody. Like for all of you who are watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast, I'm speaking to you all in generalities. Like we said in the beginning of this episode, these are general personality types. But people who work with me, the work I do with you one-on-one in a group is so very different from the podcast because this is psychoeducation. Has to be general. I'm not your therapist. Unless I am, But for the most of you, I'm not your personal therapist. I'm not your personal life coach. I don't know your story. I don't know your family members, yet. Maybe, I will know. I don't know your friends. I don't know your work situation. I don't know anything about your relationships. I don't know anything about you. So I have to speak in generalities. Where I thrive is in what I know, in my background in psychology and in coaching and in working with people individually and in groups. And where I thrive is also on a stage.
Yeah. So go back about 4 sentences, right? Because and who knew we were going to have a little business meeting live on the podcast today? But like, go back about 4 or 5 sentences. You said something about like it's your past experiences. We're going to rewind this and we're going to bottle that up because what you said is so true. It's like it's about what you've done in the past. Right. The skills that you've honed and perfected over the decades, right? That now you're trying to sell that in 2026 and nobody appreciates that or knows it. Right. Well, that's our job.
I don't think they don't appreciate it. I think they
don't know it.
Yeah.
Because you're not saying it maybe in a way that somebody hears it on social media. So then that bounces back on us.
Nobody
to do that.
And the problem is, and I think there are so many coaches and air quote mental health advocates especially on TikTok, but even on all social media.
Yeah.
And there's so many people in my field, therapy, psychology, coaching, you name it. There's a coach for everything today. People who are mental health advocates, I'm adjacent to the fitness and wellness space.
Sure.
I'm also in wellness, more the mental health wellness, but I'm adjacent to those individuals. And there's so many voices. There's so many people that I think we can all get drowned out by the competition. And it's hard. I know it too, because I'm on there and I'm like, geez, it's hard to know, like, who do you go with? If I was to go with somebody, but you have to think about who resonates for you. But it's a very competitive space. Like I was just thinking, once again, I was lying awake at night. Triathlon, I have always had coaches and the coaches write the plan for you. My job was always to just deliver. And if I did what they wrote out for me and I did it every week, I knew that I was doing the work and that come race morning, I'd feel good. I'd feel secure because I'd gotten the work done. And I needed additional help with the mental conditioning and the mental toughness because I had horrible performance anxiety. So I got help with that. So I checked off the boxes of what Anna needed to do to perform well as a triathlete and what performing well meant to me. For me, it meant to get on the podium in my age group, first, second, or third place in my age group. I paid for it. I followed through what my coaches told me to do, and I found success. This is different. This is so much harder than anything I've almost ever done. I was a good student in college. I was a good student in graduate school. I studied. I studied for the exams. I wrote the papers. I had a 4.0 in grad school. I was always a good supervisee. I did my job. I did it well. I've always done good work. I've always been told you're really good at this. You're a great clinician. I have been. I've always been told that. You're a really great coach
Yeah.
for people who know me in my personal life. But when it comes to the sales and the social media space, man, it's hard. I've never experienced anything this hard before.
Yeah.
So pushing boundaries, we've got way off topic.
That's okay.
But this is it's interesting. It's like your consultation with me. Pushing boundaries, maybe my own boundaries, has been really hard.
Yeah. So let's go one step deeper in this really quick.
And then we'll get on here.
So you can hire, and let's stick with your triathlon example, right? You can hire one of countless number of coaches to take you through the journey, right?
Yes.
Somebody could be fresh out of college, fresh out of whatever they're fresh out of, new coach, okay, right? Or there's a coach that's been around for a little bit, and there's coaches that have been around for a long time, right? I think any of those coaches is capable of getting you to the start line.
Right.
Right? I think that's possible. Like, even if I'm a first-time coach,
they can get me to the start line. Yes.
Yeah. So anybody can get you to the start line. But you, as that potential client of this coach, or this, in this case, this athlete, wouldn't you be so much more relaxed and confident knowing that you've got a coach that's been around for a long time and has done this before again and again and again with so many different people and has all this experience and leans on that? And for you, the example is, and goes out into the world and says that to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Right? That's the one you're going to buy, air quotes, buy from, I would imagine, right? And I think that's your challenge, and my challenge is to, like, how do we, like, let everybody know that that's you in this world, in this coaching atmosphere?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it has to be a fit.
Of
because
course it
I'm
has to
thinking
be a
about my
fit.
former, all my former. Okay, so I'm thinking about my business coaches. I'm thinking about my life coach. I'm thinking about my triathlon coach. I mean, I've been coached since I was 7 years old in sport. I've been coached almost my whole life.
Yeah.
In the different areas and arenas in my life. I think about my therapist. So the therapist that probably helped me get through the hardest time in my life, who had a profound impact on my mental health, was somebody that I fit with. And there were things about him that bugged the crap out of me, because I've talked about this before on the podcast. He was direct with me and told me things I didn't want to hear. But I knew that if I was paying him out of pocket the way I was, twice a week I was seeing him, I was paying him for his honesty. Sometimes I didn't like the way he said things to me, but nobody was going to tell me the things he told me. Nobody.
That's fair.
Nobody in my life was going to speak to me in the way that he spoke to me.
Yeah.
To really do, I was doing some really deep work with him. The same with, it has to be a fit. Now, one of the best triathlon coach that I had, she, personality wise, was not a fit for me.
Yeah.
We were very different in personality. I sometimes even think to myself, I don't even think she actually really likes me, but I don't think it was about that. I think that, I knew that she was more of an introvert and I'm an extrovert. Our personalities were different, but I knew, I did my research. I interviewed so many triathlon coaches throughout the years, and I knew that she had the goods. She had the background. She had the training.
Yeah.
She was a former professional triathlete. So I knew she didn't just talk the talk. She walked the walk, or ran the races. And she was a good fit for me because she knew her stuff and I knew it. And so you're always looking for that goodness of fit. That's what we call it in psychology and therapy, the goodness of fit. So that's the last point I want to make about that, is that people can look great on paper. People can sound great in a podcast. People can look so attractive to you on Instagram, and they can look like, oh, they seem so down to earth and friendly and nice on TikTok. Get on a call with them. Get to know them. Because they're showing you a side of them. They're on a screen. They know they're on a screen.
Right.
They've got a highlight. They've got a ring light behind them. They're looking good. Yeah.
You can't count that.
You have to get off the podcast. You have to get off social media. You got to get on a call with them, or get on a Zoom and talk to them about you and your life and what you need. And you will sense if they're a fit for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so let me ask you a question.
Okay. We got to get through this episode
but
here.
It's my turn to psychoanalyze you for a second.
Yeah.
So what's more important to you in general? Is it the qualifications and the time spent for a coach, that they've done this again and again, or is it the fit?
All three. I mean, I know it's hard. It's all three. Do I think that you can coach me having not been a triathlete? No, no, I don't. No, especially with triathlon.
Okay.
I don't think you really can coach a triathlete when you've never been a triathlete. I'm sorry, there's too many things that you don't know. I need to know that you've been nervous. I need to know you've had shitty swims. I need to know that you've had a flat tire on the bike and you had to DNF, did not finish because you couldn't change your tire in time. I need to know that you just did not sleep well the night before and you're exhausted and you've been stressed out because your kids were sick all week and that you've had stress with work and now you're showing up Saturday morning or Sunday morning to race day and you know what it's like to bomb because mentally you were and emotionally you really were not prepared. I need to know what it's like for you to be running 6 miles in no shade, heat, the sun boring down on your head and on your back. And I need you to know what it's like to put ice cubes in your baseball hat and ice cubes down in your crotch to try to get your core temperature down. I need to know you've been through that because if you've never done that, you can't coach me because you have no idea what it's like.
That's fair.
So that's number one. Number two, as a life coach, I need to know. So my life coaches, you've got to, so I look for people who are my age and older. You've got to have life experience. So I know the coaches, they're certified or they come from the therapy world. I don't care about their certification actually. And I find that to be true for most people. And I see this on LinkedIn. People have like all these titles behind their name. And I want to say to them, this is coaches. Do you know that no one knows what LCSW, but LMDS,
nobody knows that.
IFCC, you know that no one knows what that means?
Right.
And people don't care. Maybe you care because it makes you feel good for your own ego, but no one cares.
Yeah.
I want somebody who is the same age as me-ish and older. So they've been in the field for a long time, but I want to know they've lived. I want to know that they know what it's like to take care of aging parents. I want to know that they understand what it's like to have a child with mental health issues. I want to know that they know what it's like to lose sleep at night because you got a kid who's high all the time and they're vaping and you don't know, like, when are they not high? And I want to know that you know what it's like to take a phone away from somebody at 10 o'clock at night as they're underneath their covers and you're yelling at them because you got to get to sleep and they're on their freaking phone.
Yeah.
I want to know what it's like. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know that you've been through maybe some of that.
Okay. That's fair.
That is really, really important to me.
Yeah.
That you have also, once again, not just talked the talk, but you've walked the walk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't really care so much if, like, I'm divorced. If you've been divorced, that doesn't matter to me as much. I know it does to some people, but you have to think about what matters to you as a listener and a watcher.
Yeah.
Those are things that are important to me.
Okay.
Right?
So you just sold me on two different types of coaches, right? Like you've got me energized to go out and buy from those two types of people. Now do that for you.
Right.
Right? Like do that for you.
Yeah.
So figure out how to say that about Anna and go
I never thought to say that.
Yeah. Go out into the world, bottle that up and sell it.
I want to know that you know what it's like to lose sleep at night.
There you go.
I want to know that you know what it's like to be perimenopausal and menopausal. I want to know that you know what it's like to all of a sudden have no interest in having sex because your libido's gone because of menopause. Because our mothers never talked about this. Oh, I could go off and I could start ranting. All right, I'm going to get off my rant. Thank you. That was good. So maybe I do need to bottle that up and talk about that more.
It's so funny.
I'm gonna push my own boundaries here. Okay, so that was number 3, the boundary person, the person that you should avoid. Okay, so
wait, what was the drama? There was a quote you said, a drama dreamer, what was that?
The drama dealer.
Drama dealer.
The drama dealer.
I want that on t-shirt. Drama dealer. Okay.
The boundary pusher was the last one.
Yeah. They're
the person, if someone's pushing you for having boundaries, I need you to remember that's your answer about them. You got your answer right there. Okay. The next one is the critic. The critic or the person who's contempt. This is a contemptuous person. They're the critical person. So what does that person look like? That person looks like, hey, I'm just being honest, while at the same time they're insulting you, right? Or jokes, and this is the big one. Jokes that are actually digs at you. I'm just joking. No, you're not. The truth is often said in jest. I'm just joking. Don't be so sensitive. Or the person who just rolls their eyes at you, makes sarcastic comments, who could almost sometimes come across as having this air of superiority about them. This is the contempt person. So what does it do to you? Well, it can completely erode your confidence And you're like, I thought I was confident. And they just, when I go around them, they just seem to suck my confidence out of me. And I've worked really hard on this. The person who, you feel like you have to self-censor around them. You don't really say all the things. You're not your natural, normal self. So you're censoring the person, what else does it do to you? It creates this sort of this chronic insecurity whenever you're around this person. Like, I've really worked on this too. And I just, every time I'm around them, it's like my insecurities all come back. Okay. This is a hard person to be around. And I really back away from these individuals. And I have. And this has not been as hard of a one for me because that's sarcasm. So sarcasm in therapy, we consider sarcasm to almost always be a low-key form of hostility. People who are sarcastic, who make sarcastic comments, often there's a tinge of anger and hostility inside of them. I stay far away from sarcastic people. It's one thing if you're talking about sarcasm, but, oh, wow, the printer's working for the first time. You make sarcastic comments about an object. That's one thing. Huh, the car started. Whoa, what do you know? That's different. When people are sarcastic about other people, that ought to be a big red flag for you. So this is not a hard one for me. I just get away.
Okay.
Honesty without kindness, it's just aggression. Okay, so this is the contemptuous person or the critical person is a person who, just is aggressive and you don't want to be around it. It's also the 4 horsemen in Gottman theory, the 4 horsemen of predicting divorce. When your partner's full of contempt. Big, big, big red flag.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've talked about that, I think.
We have. Yeah.
In the past.
Okay. The next person is the person that I think you need to really be careful of is the hot and cold person. This reminds me more of my early adolescent years. I had one very close friend. This was more like in 7th and 8th grade. So I'm going way back, but this is what it reminded me of. And I want you all to think throughout your whole life. The hot and cold person is the person who they show intermittent affection. You just never know. Sometimes they're going to show affection. They're happy. You're talking. You're all chummy. Yeah. I think about my 13-year-old self with my best friend. You're tight. You're tight, tight, tight. There's an unpredictable closeness that okay, where's this coming from? They're in a really good mood. This is lovely because it feels so good. It strokes me. It's like they're like dopamine hits. This is my friend and a good friend, and now she's in a good mood. These are people who are moody. I think of hot and cold as moody, the people who are really moody. Yeah. And it's like, things are really good. We're like in this honeymoon, just like the yummy honeymoon best friend period, right? And what happens is when they're moody and they're in a bad mood, all of a sudden they come to school and they're sort of shut down and not talking and maybe giving you the silent treatment, not making eye contact. What I found and what you may find is you're always trying to get back to the other version of them. You're always trying to get back to
chasing it.
You're always trying to get back to the part of them that's happy and laughing and, and showing attention and affection towards you in some kind of way. Right. Yeah. And so what does it do to you? This hot and cold, it can keep you hooked. And I don't even know if they always realize because they're so up in their own head about what's happening inside of them. It can feel manipulative. I don't know that they intend for it to be manipulative, but it keeps you hooked because you're always trying. This is like, unfortunately, can be in some domestic violence manipulation situations. You always want to get back to that. So you're hooked. It creates an obsession and anxiety for you, the person who's trying to get back to where's that part of you that I love? Where is she? Where is he? It makes you also question your worth. Why are they this way? Am I not worth you? What have I done? Am I less worthy that you are? I feel like I'm being put aside or rejected, or I'm not being liked today. Yeah. It's a total mind screw of the person. And I have been through this before in my early years. And, I was listening to a podcast recently and they were talking about women. This might be more women, females. I was listening to these and they're a lesbian couple. They've been together for years. And they were talking about their girlfriends, their group of friends, gay, heterosexual, just their whole big group of friends. And they were talking about the people in that relationship who had husbands, like heterosexual relationships with their husbands. And they were saying how different it is with the women. And they watched their girlfriends with their husbands and their relationships and how they, as a group of women, how almost naturally, whether you be heterosexual, homosexual, how we take care of each other. Women, and the one woman goes, yeah, because we're like each other's wives. When you're really connected and you're close, like we are in a way, we're each other's wives. And I got that. I understood that. And I, at the risk of you all not understanding it, because I'm trying to keep in the context of the podcast I was listening to. But what I got from it was just understanding of, yeah, this is how women can be. We can get enmeshed with each other, but I'm not talking about enmeshment. I mean, I'm talking about having healthy boundaries, but that when we are in these loving, close, emotionally intimate relationships, most of us do like to take care of each other. We want to hear the blow by blow of our stories, our dramas. We want to hear about what's happening in our families. And there's something to that. And when the person steps away and backs away and all of a sudden isn't texting anymore and doesn't ask for plans and just, you're like, where are you? It can really feel like that hot and cold.
Yeah.
And it's messes with your head a little bit.
Well, it doesn't make sense for you.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense, I think, for a lot of women.
Yeah.
When that happens. So, I think inconsistency, it's not romantic. And I mean romantic in a very unsexy way. Inconsistency in any of your relationships is not romantic, right? It's destabilizing. And that's exactly what I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly, how I feel, because that's what they were saying. It was like, it's destabilizing to you. Yes, it's destabilizing. Because I always go back to some of the best terms I used when I worked with the adolescents in psych and eating disorders. And at the risk of, I'm going to use a big curse word here, but the patients, these teenage patients that always say, that's a mind fuck. I'm like, oh, that's okay, but that's really well said.
Yeah.
Very apropos.
Pretty.
It's destabilizing.
Direct, yeah.
It F's with your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Avoid those people.
Okay.
Okay. The next one is the one-way relationship. Ooh, how many of us have been in this? The one-way relationship. So what does it look like? You initiate all the time. They don't. You show up in life for them. They don't for you. You support them. You show support. You text them. You call them. You physically show up, and they rarely reciprocate for you. Yeah, maybe they show up once. Maybe they actually are there once. Maybe they text every now and then. But you know it. They don't reciprocate, and you know it. So what does this do to you? This one-way relationship. It teaches you to accept the crumbs that fall from the table. The hours and hours and hours and hours of therapy and coaching I've done with clients around this. You are not a dog. You do not accept the crumbs that fall from the table. You deserve a seat. And actually, I want you sitting at the table. You sit at the dinner table. You don't take the crumbs. You're not an animal. All right? I get crazy about this because I'm so protective of my clients. And when they're doing this, that's one of the first things we work on. No way, girlfriend. No way, boyfriend. You're not an animal. You're not a dog. You're not waiting for those crumbs to fall. You get up and you sit at that table.
Yeah.
Head up, shoulders back.
Or could the advice also be you walk away from the table?
Yes, and
right?
sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially, I think, with friends. You walk away. So what does it do to you? It teaches you to accept crumbs. We're going to unlearn that. It makes you overfunction. So what happens is with the one-way relationship is we start overfunctioning because we don't really understand why this is happening or what's going on.
Yeah.
So we'll overfunction. And that, for many of us, that's a learned behavior from our childhood, our youth, our families. And what does it also do to you? It builds a crap ton of resentment. And you get angry. You get resentful, okay? So a relationship should never feel like a job, everyone. It should never feel like a job, and it should never feel like a job you're failing at. Okay?
That's fair. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm just listening to your list now.
Yeah, because you probably don't know the one-way relationship so much.
Not as much.
Yeah I think it's big. I think a lot of women feel this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have an example in the past of that, but I think as a male, this is not a very, I shouldn't use a broad brush statement like this, but as a male, I think that
because men do have that too.
We do,
Yeah,
but I think we also, in most cases, are probably quicker to walk away from the table. Is that fair to say? Like as opposed to hanging around the table and hoping for things to change. I think we're just like, okay.
Guys are like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I'm going
never need to see him
that
again.
way now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've had men say this to me too. Like, yeah, I'd never need to see him again.
Yeah.
So women were wired in general a little bit differently.
Sure.
Okay. The next person to avoid is the competitor. The competitor. What does this look like? They cannot celebrate you, clearly. They are not going to celebrate you. They can't celebrate you in your wins in life. They're going to one up you, or they'll subtly diminish you. They'll one up whatever you say. They're going to one up it. They know more. They have more experience. They did more, blah, 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 or they'll, in a low key, passive aggressive way, sort of diminish you. And they'll do it in front of other people because your wins really trigger them. You may not be aware of it, but your wins, whatever it is in your life, are triggering the heck out of them. All right. So what does it do to you? It shrinks you. It makes you hide your good news. You're not going to share it anymore with them.
That's true. That's accurate.
It does. You hide your good news, right?
Yeah.
And it creates shame around success for certain individuals. Some people feel ashamed. Like, why am I feeling ashamed? There's something wrong with me because I'm sharing my success.
Yeah.
I have this really good big win. I want to share it. Well, maybe this is somebody that you need to, here's the lesson. Step away from them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I've had this more with work.
Shame. I don't know about that, but
some people might go.
Some people might go there.
Some people do go to places.
But I certainly can see definitely going the route of not sharing. Right.
I have had people in the workplace one-upping. I've seen it in staff meetings. I've seen it in case consultations. I've seen it with other therapists. I've seen it with other coaches. Who knows more? Who's better? And to me, that's always about their insecurity. That's always, to me,
yeah.
Oh, they don't see that this is not impressive. They don't see
and we all see it.
And we all see it. And it's not earning you or garnishing you any more respect or integrity.
Yeah. Is it so the person that takes credit when they shouldn't, is that this, are we talking about the same type of person?
Because they're competing for something. They want the acknowledgement.
Okay. And we all see that
They
too.
want the kudos.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They're just, the competitive people.
Totally.
We've had people in triathlon that we hang out with who are competitive, but they're not competitive in every arena. I mean, I think of one person in general. We were doing that crazy, was it like a Tough Mudder years ago, that fun run? It was like a crazy 6-mile run on that horse farm with that really uneven land topography landscape. No horses out there.
Yeah.
And horses
frozen cornfields. Crazy.
Frozen cornfields, but very hilly, and all those horses and people, I grew up riding and are very comfortable with horses, but the poor horses are freaked out. We're running through their pastures and they were running. I'm like, and everyone's like, heads up, because you're going to get trampled by a horse. Anyways, we were running it as a team, me, you, and 2 of our friends. And our other group of friends was there. And my one girlfriend was so mad because she didn't know the other group of friends very well that we did. They were a triathlon group. They're different groups that we know.
Yeah.
And my one friend, Jody, was so mad. She said to me later, she's like, who is that? I'm like, oh, it's so-and-so. She's in our biking group. She's like, ew. She's like, all she wanted to know was where you were in the race. She's like, where's Anna? All I want to know is where's Anna? Where's Anna? She came ahead of me. Their team beat us.
Yeah.
We got stuck in that creek in the mud. We got really stuck up to our knees in the mud. Anyways,
that was fun.
She's like, I can't stand her. All she wanted to know was like where you were because she wanted to beat you, Anna. I'm like, whatever. I don't really care. So that kind of I don't care about that. I don't care about that competitor.
Yeah.
That was a sport. It was fun.
That's a different
And I love her.
type.
Actually, we just saw her a couple weeks ago. I love her.
Yeah.
It didn't shrink me. Didn't make me feel less than.
Right.
Whatever. It didn't do anything to me. But you all know the people who are in your life who are competitors. And you know those who are, it's good, clean fun, and you're competitive. I think of sport. But you know the people who it's another level and they're actually trying to outdo you. Maybe they're going to put you down. And especially when they do it publicly. And I think of that more in the workplace.
Yeah. You're
in the family.
You're talking about a different type of competition completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the right people in your life, they don't make you feel guilty, or you don't feel guilty for thriving or having successes in your life.
Yeah.
That's the person you need to avoid. Okay. The next one is a reality twister. Other terms. Another word for this, everybody. Let's all say it together. The gaslighter. We hear this term all the time now. The person who twists reality, the gaslighter. I would say you need to run, don't walk to the nearest exit. Okay? This is a hard no for me. Okay, so what does it look like? This is the person who denies what happened. They deny your reality because they're rewriting history as you saw it. They are you're going to find yourself doubting your memories and doubting your feelings. So move away from this person. What does it do to you? It breaks your own self-trust, makes you second guess. Sometimes you can make you feel like you're crazy. It creates confusion and anxiety in you. Like, I swear that happened. I swear I said that. I swear you did say that back to me. That did happen. And the person's going, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. No, that's not how it was. That's not how it went down. It makes you, and what happens is it can make you feel dependent on their version of reality. When you give yourself over to them, you start to think, okay, yeah, maybe that it did happen that way and the way I saw it. You deny your gut, you deny your intuition, and you listen to them. All right. If you leave every conversation with them feeling confused or second guessing, pay attention and run to the nearest exit. Get out the door.
That's good advice.
Gaslighting is pretty toxic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not all of these people are so toxic. The gaslighter is, and have you get away from them. Okay. The next person who is the person who is allergic to accountability. You know, they do not like accountability. So what does this person look like? This person might look like someone who never apologizes, or they don't apologize cleanly. It's very hard for them to say they're sorry. They're the person who really gets defensive, or is always defensive. The person who turns your concern into your problem. Well, that's your problem. Not my concern. It's yours.
Mm.
So what does this person do to you? This is very distasteful. The person who really won't be held accountable. And I think in some ways it's pride, it's ego. It's also massive defensiveness on their part. They make conflict unsolvable. Like, you can't deal with conflict with them because they're never wrong. Right? They will not take accountability for anything that they have done or said.
Yeah.
And how you feel. They're like, yep, nope, not my problem. That's your problem. It forces you in some ways. If you're going to make a repair, you carry the repair by yourself. They're not making a repair with you because they did nothing wrong.
Right.
This is also this can be toxic too.
This might be the person I run from.
Yeah.
I think. Right? Because it's like, it becomes predictable to the point of being like, ugh. Like, it's just like, it doesn't feel good anymore because it's just too consistently the same.
They won't own anything. And with someone who won't be held accountable or won't own anything, what happens is, and I can see it, and they don't sometimes realize on their part, it really blocks their ability to have emotional intimacy with other people.
Correct.
Yeah. So a lack of accountability blocks intimacy. And because you don't want to be emotionally intimate with them because they won't own anything. And they probably, truth be told, in their lives, lack real close relationships with people because they
1,000%.
They won't own anything.
Yeah, 1,000%. Because they're building up, whether they know it or not, or acknowledge it or whatever, say it out loud. They're building up a wall, a barrier.
They have built up a wall.
And the person on the other side of that is building up their own wall. And those walls don't even line up. So all of a sudden there's a gap between the walls, right?
Yes.
And it's like, ooh, like I know what you're going to do, and I'm not going to allow myself to get anywhere near that. And you've put up this wall that you do yourself. And it's like, oh, it's just like, okay, let's just not do this anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. The next person is the emotional leech. This is something that I've struggled with probably through my mid-30s until I really got right with myself around this. But I had to get called out on this. So the emotional leech is a person who every conversation ends with me or your emotional labor. Every conversation ends with like, this is a lot emotionally. They dump. They're just an emotional dumper. They may verbal vomit on you or dump all their stuff on you, and then you hold it. That's me. That's totally me. That's me. And not my, this is what I do professionally. This is my personal life.
Yeah.
People throwing up on me emotionally, verbal vomiting on me. And I was thinking about this yesterday. I was thinking, is it because I'm a therapist? Yeah, some people.
Yes. The answer is yes. Don't try and sugarcoat it. Yes, it is.
Let's see. You've had strong opinions about this with people in my life that you've been affected by it.
Yeah. I think.
Tim, no. I think I'm a therapist because God gave me the gift of understanding and empathy for others. And I do think that God, universe, I've been given this gift of being able to listen and to really share with people insights. I think it truly is a gift of the Holy Spirit that I can help people change their lives. And I do.
Yeah.
And people know that. Okay. So I don't think it's because, she's a therapist, I'm going to verbal vomit on her. We are friends. And as a friend, I'm never interested in shallow stuff. I can't stand shallow. Those are acquaintances in my life. My true friends, we deep dive with each other. We talk. Some people don't seem to know when to stop. And that's what you have seen in our lives as couples. You've seen it with me and my friends.
Mhm.
And my other friends have seen it and called me out on it. And
Yeah.
that's when I started to
Yeah.
turn in my 30s.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But well, I think it's a little bit of both of that, right? Because I think you, because of your background, because of your training, because of the person you are in here, you go that way with people. You enjoy going that way with
I do.
people.
I'm very curious about people's lives.
Yeah, yeah. So you might overgo that way. Is that safe to say? In not in a paid session time.
Yeah.
So you might overgo that direction.
Yeah.
And then the person on the other side, they know what you do for a living. And so they would just naturally want your opinion on this or that. But then you overgo and they're like, oh, okay, she's like giving me the green light now. Like we're going to go together
I
little
don't know
bit
if it's
deeper.
conscious, but maybe it's subconscious on their part.
Yeah.
It's not conscious on my part that I want to give you a free therapy session as we're sitting around our back, patio by
Yeah.
the fire, drinking a beer. No, it's Saturday night. I don't want to really be doing it, but we get into our lives. We have deep dive conversations. Next thing I know, it's a monologue.
Yeah.
And I have there are times I was aware of it. I had a hard time with my own boundaries of, I didn't want to be rude. You're in my backyard or we're out at a restaurant and I don't want to, and I've gotten so much better. And this is like 20 years I don't do this anymore.
Right.
But it
Right.
took you saying something to me. You got like mad at me. And it took my really good friend getting mad at me with another friend. It's funny because my really good friend didn't love the other friend. They were acquaintances more like, but she was my friend. And my other friend, she like yelled at me and she's like the most mild mannered, chill, laid back Lisa.
Sure.
And she was like yelled at me. And she's like, I'm sick of this. Every time we go out with her, she throws up on you.
Yeah.
She tells you all her life. And she said, Anna, it's not only affecting you, all the rest of us have to listen to it too. She like, you like give her a personal session. We're all sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, around the fire, around the dinner table. And two of you were in a conversation. I was so myopic. I couldn't even see it. I was like, oh, you're right. And it happened around the same time with you and Lisa that I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
I am doing that. And what I did, and this is hugely helpful, what I did with all these people in my life is I would keep saying, you've got to see a therapist. You've got to see a therapist.
Yeah.
You need coaching around this. You need coaching around this. I can't, and that was what made all the difference in the world was they finally got the message and they did. And here's what happened. Then we went out. They didn't talk so much about the problems.
Yeah.
Because they had somebody they were paying for.
Yeah.
A therapist. And
no,
then
you're right.
They got coaching.
You're right. And you're talking history. I mean, this goes back.
Yeah, this doesn't really go.
This is a dozen years ago.
And
easy.
when it does, there's one person right now who does a little bit.
But you don't.
I have had to step
there.
away.
Yeah.
Because it's exhausting to me.
Yeah.
To go out, girls' night out on a Thursday night when I've been working all day. I don't want to listen to a monologue.
Yeah.
I love you, but I don't want to listen to your monologue about your whole life.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And for those of you who are also in this situation, I want you to remember the people who are leeching on you emotionally, they've got to go get the help that they need. You're not their life raft. Remember that. And this is what I have said to myself. I'm not your life raft. You're not their life raft. It's not your job. It's not your duty. And you don't have a responsibility to listen to them ad nauseum, talk about everything that's going on in their emotional lives. Friendships, especially, and all relationships, it's a dialogue. It's a two-way street. It's give and take, give and take. They take and then you give. And then you know what I mean? Then vice versa, like you give a little and then you take a little. Right? That's what what helps relationships thrive. That's what relationships are about.
Yeah.
Two-way street.
That's a great model.
Yeah. The emotional leech. Okay. That was the last one. Okay. So once again, let's go back to the questions I want you to ask yourself as you think about all these different personality types. All right. When you're with them, ask yourself, do I feel more like myself or less like myself when I'm around them? Do I feel expanded or do I feel contracted when I'm around them? Is there repair and reciprocity when we do hit bumps in the road with each other's relationships? Is there repair? Is there reciprocity? I just talked about the give and take. Or they're just excuses coming from them. Okay. Your body is going to tell you the truth faster than your mind will. Remember that. Your body is going to tell you the truth faster than your mind will. Your body is primal. So if you feel something in your body, pay attention to that. Okay. So why do we keep these people around? Why do we do this? Right. I mean, I think we got to normalize for all of us why we all do this, because I think most of us do this, right? You might keep these people around because you confuse loyalty with self-abandonment.
Mm.
Really big. You're afraid of being the air quote bad guy or bad gal. You were trained, this is big. You were trained to manage other people's emotions. It's just, you were trained this way since you were little. This is what you saw in your family. Maybe you saw your mom do it. You think boundaries are rejection. You actually think yourself that having boundaries with people means you're rejecting them. No, it doesn't. But you don't know that yet. So boundaries are like about rejection. A lot of us grew up with that, right? You hope that they'll change if you just love them harder. I'll love them harder and they'll change. Okay. If you grew up having to earn love, you might be trying to earn it as an adult. Really, really big there.
Interesting.
Yeah. And here's the hard truth. You don't need more empathy. Okay. You don't need more empathy inside yourself. You need more discernment. You need to discern these people. All right. So here's what you're going to do instead. And this episode's going way over, but this is really important stuff. Okay. So for boundaries, I'm going to give you some real quick scripts here. Okay. Let's go back to the boundary person. Here's some things you're going to say. And you may have to rewind this and go back and watch this again. I'm not available for that. That doesn't work for me. I can do X. I can't do Y. I can do this. I can't do that. I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass on that one. Okay. You can find a way to text that and to say that. All right. That's taking care of you and your boundaries. When someone's pushing you, next one, when someone's pushing you, you could say, I've already answered you. And the answer is still no. We've talked about this before. The answer is still no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to debate my boundary with you. It's not up for debate. If this continues, I'm going to end this conversation. Okay. When they're pushing your boundary. Next one, when you're stepping back from someone, I care about you and I'm stepping back from my mental health. I care about you and I enjoy our relationship, but I need to step back from my mental health. I think that's going to be a harder one to text or say. And I think you can do it. I just had a client do this recently. It was hard for him.
Yeah.
And he did it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I interrupted.
No, I was just saying that to me, that's always a conversation. That's not a text.
Okay.
That one.
That's a conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not the right person for you to process this with. And that's what I should have said 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm not the right person for you to process this with. You need to, do you have a therapist? You got to talk to, I'm sorry, I just don't have the bandwidth. And I'm not the right person for you with this. I'm going to take some space. I'm just going to take some space. Okay. When someone's disrespectful towards you, they're disrespecting you because maybe you've set a boundary. I'm happy to talk when you can be more respectful towards me. I'm happy to talk when it stays respectful. Okay. We can continue later when we're both calm. We need to stop right now because we're both getting agitated. We're both getting upset. We're both getting pissed off, frustrated, angry, whatever words you want to use. Let's talk about this later when we're both calmer. And I always say, and this goes back to Gottman, and this is more like in romantic relationships. Let's talk tonight after dinner. Let's talk tomorrow morning before we go to work. Let's talk tomorrow when we're at work, when we're both calmer. Okay. So a boundary isn't what you demand. A boundary is what you do. All right. A boundary isn't what you demand. A boundary is what you do. Okay. So here are your power moves. I'm going to move quickly now because we're way over. Your boundaries are not mean. It's your mental health. Your boundaries are your mental health. All right. Here's your takeaway. Consistency is a green flag. Repair is a green flag. Consistency and repairs and relationships, those are green flags. All right. If someone's punishing you for having boundaries, that relationship is not a safe one for you. So pay attention to that. Okay. If someone's going to give you a hard time about boundaries, that might not be a safe relationship. You're allowed to reduce access to people without explaining your entire childhood. All right. This is really big. You don't have to do a whole thing about why you are the way they are, why you are the way you are, and this is how I was raised, and I'm working on this. You don't have to do that. You can just reduce access to you from these people. You don't have to psychoanalyze your own childhood to them. You don't need them to understand you. Okay. You're not required to set yourself on fire to keep somebody else warm
Wow.
because you're setting yourself on fire to keep them warm.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You don't need to do that.
I mean, that's a thing.
Okay. All right. So if this hit home for you, this episode, and you want help building boundaries, emotional mastery, and working on self-trust, that's exactly what I teach. This is exactly what I work on in my group coaching, and what I work on, just some of the few things I work on with my individual clients. Okay. Reach out to me. Okay. Email me, reach out to me. You can find it all in the show notes, and let's get on a call and let's see if I'd be a good fit for you.
I like it.
Okay. I hope that this was helpful for all of you. Long one today, but lots to talk about because us people, us humans, we got all kinds of personalities. I want you to help develop this roadmap for the people in your life who are healthy for you and those you need to start to back away from and put limits on when it comes to your mental health. Protect your mental health. All right.
Very helpful.
Mad love. Until next time, everyone.